you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, this is Cecil Laird, and we are here to do our commentary for Dylan's New Nightmare. And today I'm joined by...
Miko Hughes, I play Dylan.
I'm Dave McRae, I play Freddy.
And I'm Vincent DiSanti, a fellow producer and table flipper.
So I did my own commentary separately because I didn't want to talk over these guys. So yeah, we're going to be here and we're going to have a little bit of fun here today, guys.
Shout out right off the bat to DP Ben Meredith for these beautiful opening frames. Definitely want to miss him here. Wish he could have been here, but he did fantastic work on this. So I wanted to shout him out as we could move through this.
Absolutely.
And also shout out to Josh Schultz walking by, BTS and production designer right there.
And singer-songwriter for our Above the Line credits.
That's correct. There's me walking through frame. There's my
Finn
cameo.
right there, yep. And this was our first shot of the shoot, so this is when Miko was most nervous about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shot fairly chronologically, which is kind of nice from an acting perspective.
Definitely worked out with the black eye perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely helped with continuity. That's for sure.
And the tooth.
The tooth, indeed.
right.
Yeah. Dave, are you able to bring your volume up a little bit? Your mic.
Hi, Mike. Test. Hello.
Yep, there you go. Just want to make sure you're a little
I
soft.
might have been talking softly. I was probably talking softly.
You're the carry big stick kind of guy.
Yeah.
So what made you want to go with Hatchet 5 here, Cecil?
Honestly, I just love the Hatchet franchise, and as often as they were cranking them out for a little while, I thought it made sense that, Miko would be trying to, Dylan would be trying to get an acting role in maybe a film like a Hatchet film. And I love the franchise, so I wanted to give it a bit of a shout out, or an overlong shout out.
It's fairly plausible that that would happen. So.
I still want
Miko, have you ever had a... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I still want to make this a reality where when Hatchet 5 does come around, you actually do get in there.
Yeah, even if it's a bit part, if it's just like that scene, and I actually perform the same scene, that'd be awesome.
So
They just write it in. That would be great. Adam, if you grabbed a disc.
Yeah, I'd really rather not talk about all that.
Oh, really? That's wild. That's one of my favorite lines.
yeah.
I don't know why. It's the way you say it.
It's so throwaway. It's funny. Like, it's
is,
something
right?
you say all the time. Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, and it's just the way you're just like humoring him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, trying to be polite, but it's
Yeah.
obvious it's not my favorite topic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Miko, what was it like? So this again was your first substantial scene that we shot for the film, and you were basically auditioning when you hadn't acted in, 20 years? So what was that like?
Sounds about right.
Doing an audition
Yeah.
your first time back.
I think a lot of things in this script did me a lot of favors. I think having it be an audition, auditioning inside the film was kind of a nice way to layer back into it, because it has a very audition-y feel, and then it's acting beyond that. There's a little bit of layers there, and it felt good to warm up into it with this scene, even though it is kind of maybe the wordiest scene. It was a lot. It kind of got it out of the way early, and then it was just fun to be. We were in the zone. We hit the ground running.
What was it like having Ron as a scene partner?
Ron is great, man. He was a lot of fun. I think he brought some cool stuff to it, and I love that everyone involved had some touch in the horror world.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Ron got to play with Dave too, because Ron essentially is Freddy, and so there was some crossover during the actual day of acting. How did you like working with him, Dave?
Ron is great. I mean, he's a professional. He's been doing it for years, and he was a lot of fun and just a really sweet, genuine guy. So that makes working with him or with anybody when they actually have they're actually really nice people off camera, makes it that much better work with him on camera.
Yeah, I think one really nice thing was getting to sit with Ron during this side of the coverage of Miko and kind of just sitting here, actually just admonishing the work that you were doing, Miko. We were both just kind of saying, this is looking really good and being very encouraging. And he was a very positive voice on set. So it was really nice to have him around in his sort of senior leadership and just being able to hang out. He's just a great guy.
Well, and he got to stretch
and a local.
Yeah, he got to. It's true. That's true. He's not very far away, but he got to stress acting muscles that he doesn't normally get to stretch. I should say. He got to stretch acting muscles he normally doesn't get to, because right here is when he gets to go a little crazy, and he was so good at it that all of us on stage, even Ben Meredith, like you mentioned, the DP came up to me during this and was like, I've never seen Ron act like this. It's so weird. But he's so good. Well,
here's the reason why we have a block on YouTube.
Yeah,
there it is.
YouTube's favorite shot.
I actually, when I opened it up last, I saw a warning that said there's scenes of self-harm, and so that really is what
it is.
What
the
it
reason.
was.
Yeah, Dead Meat James was like, oh, it's definitely the unalivings that did that.
This was wipe cut.
Yeah, well, not only that, but the shot of Miko ducking was literally him ducking under an actual table flying over his head. He was ballsy as hell for that.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how to do it in a cut, and it wasn't quite working, and it just actually doing it saved so much time. And it looked great.
And saved us some VFX work.
So there's your intro, Dave, your boo. What did you think playing, at your first line being boo? Were you worried it was going to be cheesy, or were you excited to give that a go?
No, not really, because it was the only scene where I had the fake teeth in my mouth, and I was I knew going forward that, I mean, even if I hadn't broken my tooth, I knew that I couldn't do the whole film with the teeth in the mouth, because I just couldn't speak, really. So I guess I was just trying to find a way to say boo without it sounding like I have food in my mouth. That was what I was thinking about at that moment. This is, of course,
the goblin shot. It's the thing that caught everyone's attention.
Well, and it was that moment where I fell into the role comfortably, fully. Was that moment I felt it click.
Yeah, that playfulness. It's like Freddy's fully ready to tango there.
Yeah.
And then we start getting into our VFX stuff and
I think it came out good,
This is a very well-designed scene. I really love the way the scene came together, all in all. And hey, there's a little acting by yours truly.
That was Vin's cameo. That arm,
a little hand acting,
right here. Yep, this shot was done on a completely different day, completely different state than the rest of the shots. Yep, months later. But it ended up coming together so well. Now let's. That's
one of my favorite shots. That was such a good idea.
Thank you very much. And it definitely worked well. And of course, let's make sure we leave the runway to allow for Miko's shining moment right here. all the work,
Terminator audition,
all the work an actor puts in, especially Miko.
Months of working out for like 3 seconds there.
But I'm telling you, people were giving it its due in the comments. That's for sure.
I love the photo you had of this on the table at the convention where
that was Cecil's doing.
Like you had a stroke or something.
Did you run out of those yet, Miko?
Oh, that frame, yeah. Yeah, I did actually.
Shout out to the Womp Stomp Films laptop. It's like 50th appearance in a movie.
So the whole point behind my thought process of being in shape for this, I should say, was because I haven't acted in so long, I knew if I just ended up being terrible in it, at least I tried to look as good as I could. If my acting was terrible, at least I didn't look bad.
I could still be an action star, directors.
Or at least as good as I could be. I don't know about that. But
well, luckily, you apparently ended up being the entire package, so kudos to you on that, because the acting still gets kudos to this day. I still see comments pop up that are like, Miko's so good in this. It's fucking awesome.
It was great to play again. I definitely this reinvigorated my interest, I would say.
I think it was a treat for a lot of people to see you back, and in a different perspective as well.
Sure.
Shout out to Cynthia Cania from, of course, Friday the 13th, Part 6. She got to be killed by Jason, and both her and Ron were recommended by Vin, so shout out to Vin for his extraordinary producerial efforts in making the film as good as it can be cast-wise. because I think Cindy did an awesome job. She was so natural, and I thought you guys had good chemistry back and forth. And I really, a lot of, not a lot, but there was some comments about this scene being a little long, and there was some concerns about that going into the release too. But I honestly think it's paced the way it needs to be. It tells the information that needs to be told without completely feeling like an exposition dump. And it allows you, Miko, a lot of chances to do the little things acting wise that I think make people drawn into you as a character. You know, these little tiny things that feel so real that make people see themselves in you. And I think this is a wonderful showcase for that, as long as it is.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I think as a short film and as a fan film, a lot of people are expecting and wanting the money shots, the fan service, the action, and the effects and everything. And we certainly have that. But yeah, maybe those thoughts were coming from people that are just here for that and not, you know, the exposition and character development that we would want to have if this was, you know, a full-length feature, if it continued or whatever else. So,
Right.
Well, that's it. And it's the
got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, people have, you know, and again, to your point, Miko, because I think it's a good one. You know, it's the first bit of a much larger story, potentially, right?
Sure.
And that sort of is kind of, you know, you're seeing a little bit of that. You're not seeing the rest of it, so to speak. And
it's kind of laying a lot of groundwork too. For,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
30 years, we don't know where Dylan's been. It's a lot of here's where the state of the world now to get everyone caught up so we can continue on and start this.
That's exactly it. And I think some people go into it thinking that's going to be sort of a beginning, middle, and an end all wrapped up in it's one thing, which it could have been. You know, I mean, that could have been something that you'd done, but or that Cecil decided to do, but he decided to take it in stages. Essentially, it's the, you know, beginning of the first act.
Yeah.
Essentially, is what you're seeing here, and that lays the foundation. So,
yeah, I think if viewers really, you know, sit back and not try to like watch the film to be like, oh my God, like where's all the action coming from? But it's coming from a standpoint, you're watching the scene, really getting the subtle clues of where this has the potential to go and sort of what is actually manifesting around Dylan. It makes everything make a lot of sense and sets up the rules. You need scenes like this to set this up. And I always said, you know, I said the same thing after Never Hike in the Snow, and I'm sure as you too, Dave, with It's Me, Billy, it's that you have to invest that this is a long form story. And there's a lot more to be told, and we want to set those things up predominantly so when we finish these things that the things we set up here are paying off later down the road, and you're just gonna have to buy into that like it's, you know, it's the first episode of a series on television, and that's it. That's sort of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
If so, this is the place to discuss it.
I was hoping that would have been more apparent to the random viewer, and it wasn't for some, but you know, that's okay. That's the thing. The biggest complaint that we got about Dylan's New Nightmare is that it was too short, and ultimately that's really a compliment in disguise.
It's the best we could ask for.
Yeah, it's a compliment in disguise. They wanted more, and like, oh, I was just getting into it, and it's like, yeah, like, you know, but it does very much play like an act one of a film, because that's truly what it was. And you know, it just happened to also be proof of concept for something larger.
That's right.
But you know, even Vin had the comment leading into it. By the way, I love using the squeal cues right there in the background of this scene.
Absolutely.
But Vin had the concern about the ending, like, is it a punchy enough ending? And I was like, I think it's the emotional punch we're going for instead of like the flashy Freddy punch. And so I think we very much achieved what we were looking for in that sense, but we can talk more about that once we get to that point.
Yeah.
Maybe my hand should have come out of Miko's chest at the end, just as the tears.
Yeah, that wouldn't have undercut it at all.
Yeah, like, whoa, where's this going?
Or out of
phone just turned into a tongue.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's true. That would have been good. That actually, that would make a degree of sense if it was Nancy on the other side and it's the tongue coming out from her on the other side. You know, there's a weird symmetry there.
We've all revealed that it was Freddy, though.
Exactly.
We were gonna maybe go different ways there depending on how we want to write it. But
it depends on how part two goes.
It would make that choice for us.
Start with that version of the scene.
But you're right. I mean, we've all experienced it between our 3 films in the sense that there are people that get it, and there are people that are expecting it to be sort of a beginning, middle, and end all wrapped up in one. And you know, I mean, it is what it is. You just navigate and take it as it comes and try to, you know, kind of, I don't know if educate's the right word. That sounds a little pretentious, but, you know, explain, you know,
Yeah,
sort
but
of
then
what's going
what's
on.
nice is getting the opportunity to keep going. You know,
Yeah.
we get to finish the Never Hike Alone 2 series. You know, Dave, you're in the middle of finishing Billy, and if, you know, Cecil can get the opportunity to finish this, it all, you know, a couple years from now when this comes out again, you don't have to explain to anybody. There it is.
That's
you know,
it.
it's just there, and you just got to kind of bank on that.
Yeah.
When we do the
shout out
the
to my
Freddy
Jeep.
cut.
Nice. The
Same
Freddy
Jeep
cut
at Never
was
Hike Alone 2, the Ranger. Now there's all blood splatters all over it. Good thing we shot this before that, because it would have
connected.
been.
The universes are connected.
They are.
Well, this
Dylan
was
actually sold the Jeep to whoever
To the
has it,
Ranger
Never
service,
Hike Alone.
yeah, when he was
That's it.
done, yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
adding this scene did make a big difference, though, because this scene was added after principal photography was done, when we realized, and I use this term because Vin used it, and it stuck in my head immediately. The film felt very four-walled, and there was no instances of being outside at all, let
Sense of the
alone placing
world.
it in California. You know, so. Doing this really worked out, but it also allowed us. This was originally going to be a phone call scene with Dylan's agent, but we opted to go this route, which ended up A, not taking as much to shoot on that day, but B, lending to the emotional through line that we were trying to get. Him almost calling, and then ultimately calling once he's inside and things are, you know, a little bit, you know, more clear in his head. So it just ended up working well, and it allowed us to get that transition back in, since we skipped the reaching for the door in the psych office.
No, it was good. It was good.
No, I really like the way the scope opened up for the film, and that was really where my note was coming from, was making it feel like it was set in Los Angeles. We got a lot of really great, you know, exterior establishing photography. Some of the stuff that Ben had, that some of it's not found footage, drone footage from when we were actually shooting drone footage for 13 Fanboy. Some of that's unused from when, you know, I had gone out and done that for Deb. So again, it's just like it's nice that these independent films are all helping each other. You know, that's where I met Ron. Cindy, I obviously met from doing Pathosis, but met her through her husband Vinny, who was in Never Hike. So it's a good,
Got
it's
his
good that
head
everyone's here.
clobbered.
And yeah, he did. And shout out to Sarah Schultz here on the phone as our nurse.
The wife of Josh, who
Yeah.
was the wicked one in the very beginning that also did the song. And the
And
beach.
since
Shout
we're
out
in
to the product
commentary, to
placement.
ruin it for everybody, but she's sitting right off scene right now.
Yep. Which, by the way, her best delivery came with the help of Miko coming and snatching the script out of her hand.
Can't help
as
but
a
read
little
it
BTS.
in front of you, yeah.
It made such a
think I-
difference, though. It was such a brilliant move as a fellow
She was too worried
actor.
about the words and not the
Yeah.
content.
It was such-
the
Just
conversation
interacting,
we're
yeah.
actually having.
It was something I just wouldn't have thought to do because I don't have the experience that you do as an actor, Miko, and it worked out to the benefit for sure.
It might not have worked, but I was willing to try.
It worked.
Gave it a shot.
I would say one of the most fun things I had working on set, you know, just because of producing, but I was also working with the production design team, setting the things in the background. That's Cecil's jacket on the table in the back, making it, but still all these like little things. We had plants that were moving around. Like I was really proud of the production design team and what Josh did and how we all worked together to make this house feel like separate places, even though it was basically like being on a stage and shooting different sets on the same stage of different places. One of the greatest like logistical kind of, I think, victories for us was really separating this house up and making it feel like multiple different places. So shout out to everyone who worked on the production team who helped with this.
Yeah, the wide shot of this angle right here is.
Yeah, I love it.
If you flip the camera, you'd see the psych office.
I was
And then
gonna say
the
that
pool
on the
lights-
last scene.
The pool
Even
lights
here.
dancing, behind
Yeah.
him.
I wanted
for that
to-
trash
Little
shot.
things.
I wanted to mention on the psych scene, we got out of it just before, but how happy I was with how it ended up looking. Because I remember in the beginning, I was kind of nervous that we were shooting multiple locations in the same house, and I
Yep.
wasn't sure we were going to be able to sell. These are different places, but then the added scene of the car driving, it looks like totally different building. It was great.
And then the lighting back here meant to be like the slashes in the shirt, like another nice little touch. I love that this house had those types of, you know, they plantation shutters is what they call them, I believe.
Yeah.
Love
There's
that.
our butter knife Freddy glove under the covers.
We were like, we're gonna cut through the thing. I was like, how many shirts? I mean, how many things do we have?
How many gloves do we have? Because we literally broke
yeah.
2 gloves doing that. And then there's our shout out to Ryan Perez Dapel with our little Godzilla emulant, sort of shout out with that stand up. And then
The stabs.
my everlasting coat shot here, which I purposely wanted. I purposely wanted because again, it's a shout out to Nancy pulling the hat out in the first film, and so I love this. I think
This is the best shot to focus on the makeup, the back of the head makeup. We don't see that much of except here, and it was really well done.
By Nora Hewitt.
Yeah,
Shout
absolutely.
out to her.
Shout out to Nora.
Oh yeah, Nora
and Mikey sculpted it too.
That's right.
Rotella,
Mikey
yeah.
Rotella, yep.
That was
that
that.
might be my favorite line of the film.
It's gotten a lot of reaction at every time we've shown it. That's for sure. And this is one of the 2 things that I'm specifically proud of because there's been 8 or 9 other Nightmare films, and no one's ever used a dream catcher, and no one's ever done sushi, which we'll get to eventually as well. So I was proud of this little moment.
Imagine if it just like sucked him into it out of nowhere.
I love that too when he walks out of the room, the little turn off the light with the claw on his way out. I thought that was a nice little. That was just an on the day thing,
Yeah, that was.
And
fun.
it happened to be like in
scripted.
camera, all that stuff. Yeah.
This ended up working out too. Like I always had like this specific kind of dictator in my mind because it's what my dad used to use as an orthopedic surgeon, and so like it was just an automatic translation for me. And her rewinding it back and listening, I was like, that's going to allow me to play with the Freddy voice and how we can get the rhyme in there. And the scene just ended up playing out. Like the movie ended up playing out very much like it was originally in my head, which is kind of surprising. I thought there'd be a lot more changes along the way, but I guess the foundation of what I was thinking ended up playing through pretty well for the most part, which I'm excited about as a director.
That's great.
But obviously, none of that would have happened without without the talents that I surrounded myself with. So, shout out to everyone else for helping achieve this. But yeah, Cindy again, kicking ass, just looking laid back, chilled, doing her job, and then having to transition to abject fear. I think she did a great job.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun to work with. When we were rehearsing, there was when I was kneeling beside her during rehearsal, I accidentally hit the back of her ponytail. Like she has her hair up, right, in like a little bit of a bun, I think, and I accidentally hit the bun, and I thought I had sliced her head, and I'm like, oh my goodness, are you okay? She's like, oh no, I'm fine. You just hit the back of my hair there. I was like, oh, okay, thank goodness. I was like, God, that's the last thing we need now. You got the tooth gone, her I thought I had stabbed her in the back of the head, but no, thankfully that did not happen. But no, she was absolutely a total pleasure to work with and a lot of fun.
We're about to get a good look at your tooth here in this phone shot.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, the tooth.
The notorious
tooth.
missing tooth that almost ended production on
I should have
day
kept
2.
that tooth. My dentist threw it out, and I should have kept it and got you to mount it in a little glass case.
Yeah, put it in a little resin display.
Yeah.
Cecil would have sold it as a
perk, baby. Yeah.
Cecil, what was the
clone Dave McRae?
What's the last line in her notes? Ask Doctor Who about what?
It was ask Dr. M about God, I even mentioned it in the other commentary. It's like ask him about further medication or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and she actually wrote all those notes in character to make it seem realistic.
Oh, that's cool.
She did a good job. And then that's Vin tossing the arm, making sure the arm flipped to sell the slice.
Man, how many takes did we do to get it right?
We did a lot of arm drops.
It took us a little bit longer than I should admit to have the reverse rotation, and it just sort of all worked out at the right time.
Conversely, we only could do the sushi drop twice because we did it once and sprayed the carpet with blood, and then we rotated the carpet so that the blood was in the back of the scene and you couldn't see it, and then we did the arm drop one more time. So we had 2 to pick from, and we actually ended up using both shots.
Nice.
So Dave, this is you getting to like really dial in the Freddy and be your version of Freddy. Like, what was this little process like for you?
It was great. Like I said, I mean, it's all about bringing the essence of the character there, and you know, and just sort of, again, having a great scene partner, whether it's Ron, whether it's Cindy, whether it's Miko, is, you know, makes all the world, right? You know what I mean? Because when you have somebody who's firing on all cylinders, it makes your job a lot easier. So it was just a lot of fun. By this point, I think this is day 3 for me. By this point, I mean, I was locked in, dialed in. Yeah, I had no issues. I mean, I never really did have an issue. It was just the first couple of takes I was finding my groove, and then after I did, you know, the goblin shot, I found that the rest of the week went off without a hitch. You know, I had no issues. I mean, there was a few times where I needed to push myself to go further, and that's when Miko and even, you know, yourself would often say, you know, can I do, you know, push yourself a little further, maybe a little bit, because it's always easier for an actor to or as a director, it's always easier to pull them back than it is to push them forward. So I needed to make sure that I was going, maybe I was a little apprehensive at times to kind of really go there. But after I was given the permission to do so, I was dialed in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did an excellent job. And then this is Rex enters the chat. I do love that last shot very much, though. The push in and the follow the pen up to Dylan. I think that worked out very well.
Yeah,
but
and the real Rex, we have to mention. It's the real Rex.
Shout out to Miko and Miko's mom for taking such good care of such important things over the years.
Yeah, it's in phenomenal shape.
Yeah, it has. This is the first time it's been used for anything other than being looked at, you know,
it's
a
so
little
cool.
bit over the years.
Just increase the value right there.
Sure.
And this is one of Miko's shining moments in the film. I love this so much.
I got so lucky. Everything came together well enough to have that moment.
Right into the light, baby. He even knew which eye to roll the tear from.
Kind of wondered if what would have happened if it would have been on the right side, how it would have looked.
It would have looked still good, but it would have been a little harder
absolutely.
to see.
You would have had to have digitally removed it and placed it on the other cheek.
Yeah. And then just like Rex, this is another thing from the original film, Dylan's original pajamas. Both the undamaged and the damaged versions, which we shift to after Freddy appears in the credits briefly. But above
has anybody
the line
ever
credits,
caught on to what the pajamas are? Like,
one person I think commented about them, without me prompting in a different stream or something like that.
Cool.
But yeah, it's man, everything just came together so well. I'm so excited about how everything came out, and I'm really excited to hopefully continue the story. We just need to finish fulfilling the perks from this first one before we start investigating all that. And there's a very important conversation that we need to have with someone as well. So, but you know, we're working on everything, and this doesn't necessarily have to be the end of Dylan's New Nightmare. But even if it is, for whatever reason, I'm very, very proud of what we accomplished with this film. And you guys,
likewise,
you guys are absolutely amazing with everything that you brought to it. So thank you guys very much.
Oh, thank you, Aaron. This is one of the most fun. I mean, I had fun on set the entire time. This was a really good collaborative production. A lot of hard people working on it. Shout out to Tom Newell for editing. He did a great job putting this together and piecing the scenes. Really, really proud of just the way it came through. I mean, this is just a really solid production. I mean, here's some dirty used
soiled
PJs for you. Yeah, soiled. Here's the soiled PJs.
There's the clean ones and the dirty ones. So.
And I think it'd be good. I think once everybody gets a chance to kind of ingest this and we come back with more something, I really do hope this continues on. This will be this is a fun story to kind of tell. And like when you first came to me, I knew that this had legs. So I'm just I just can't wait to get back to it and bring that crew back together.
Yeah, it was a really great time.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I again thank you for entrusting in me to take on that role. I mean, it certainly you know, again, as I've said this before, but I'll say it again, is that it's the closest you can get to, you know, being Freddy without actually being Freddy canonically. I think, you know, just everything from the casting to the process to the makeup. I mean, everything was professionally done from top to bottom. It was one of the reasons that attracted me to the project, is because of how it was being done. And if it was just, you know, we were using a silicone mask, or we were going to use something, I might have been like, I don't know. But just the fact that we were actually taking it to the degree that we were, showed me how serious you guys were. And then that allowed me to, you know, sort of do what I could do. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. You know, it was like, whenever you're shooting a low budget indie shoot, whether it's a feature or a short film, you know, if you're in one location, or maybe even a couple locations, which is often the case on low budget horror movies, you know, there's a real sense of community, summer camp kind of vibe that can be built. And especially, you know, if you get along with everybody, and that was the case here. And it was just an honor to be with everybody, and it was an honor to be able to, you know, as I said, do something that very few people have ever been able to do. You know, there's lots of people that can play Freddy, but not too many people can get this close to it almost being the real thing. So again, I appreciate the confidence in me, and the belief in me.
Of course.
It may not be official, but in my mind, story-wise, it is canon. For me, it is definitely. So
yeah, that's the way I feel too, for sure. Obviously, I'm biased, but yeah, I definitely agree.
Well, again, because it's a professional product, right? You know, it's just like, you know, Never Hike Alone, or, you know, It's Me, Billy. You know, when you're putting that much time and effort and money into something, you know, you create something with so much love and so much respect for the material and what came before that. I mean, yes, technically it's not canon, but there's a lot of people that watch us and go, this is fantastic. This is great. It's going to become, you know, part of my yearly viewing when I sit down to watch this kind of thing. And a lot of people are doing that now, right? They're watching New Nightmare, they're watching Dylan's New Nightmare, they're watching Friday the 13th part, I guess it's 8, and then it would go on to, you know, Never Hike Alone, I think it is. And then, you know, same with Black Christmas. And that right there, I think, is some of the coolest shit around. You know, when I see posts from people saying, well, I just finished watching Black Christmas, now it's on to It's Me, Billy. I mean, that's just like, that's fucking, it makes it all worth it. You know, it's really darn cool to be able to give fans something that they've never had before.
I'm surprised at the amount of backers from the campaign that have messaged saying that they pulled up the movie just to check their names, but they purposely haven't watched it yet because they're waiting for the Blu-ray to watch the movie. And I'm like,
I know.
Oh wow!
Damn. Okay.
Be waiting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
Sorry.
they've been patiently waiting. You know, they want to see it in their peak viewing environment rather than just on YouTube, I guess. And I appreciate that, you know, that.
Well, technically on YouTube, you can watch it in 4K.
I know. But
YouTube is always going to have banding, though. So it really probably is the best way to watch it. You're not going to have any compression issues.
Yeah. But
I really like
cool,
the behind the scenes photos in the during this part. It's nice. It's like a nice reminiscence for us, I guess. Anyway. I remember these days.
Well, it's a good way for us to pass the time while we go through over 1,000 backers. You know what I mean? So
It's funny. There's a couple of shots.
Shout out to all of those people, by the way, while we're here.
Absolutely,
because they're the ones that are going to be listening to this, and all their names are up there. And thank you for being part of the team. You know, being a fan and helping us make this become a reality.
For sure,
100%.
For sure.
Oh yeah, look at that set.
Yep.
It like came together like right before we started shooting too. I think we just had to get the ties for the
curtains.
And that was like the last thing that went in. It was like right before we started shooting. So funny.
Yeah,
good.
I'm
you guys
really
did a good job.
glad that we did these. Like these black and white pictures are particularly awesome to me.
R.I.P. to my long hair. Forgot how much I was growing it out.
I learned a lot from Vin and Ben, like you know, the orientation of boxes You know, Chicago, New York, and is LA the other one?
LA.
LA, yeah.
Yeah.
And then was it 10-3?
Yes. Yeah. 10-3.
10-3 was
set.
one of my favorite memories from set was the use of 10-3.
Little Ben.
Little Ben, yeah.
I love that. I love that he mentioned it.
I couldn't help myself. I had to do that as our crew shot. So
I think somebody asked me if that was real, and I'm like,
yep. Ben is nigh on 6 inches.
Wait, did you have a
tall.
real, did you have a real
Yes.
1 foot
He's
tall
the
person?
size of a Smurf.
yes.
Bye, everybody.